Everybody come see us on tour. We'll be in Columbus, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
Yes, this is Russell Dobler here with Keaton Weiss, filling in for Jimmy Dore, who is roaming the Midwest, bringing laughter and sunshine everywhere he goes. So our guest today is someone I'm very excited to interview. I have been consuming his content for a very long time. Gary Buechler, I hope I'm saying that right, is a former comic book retailer and the content creator behind the YouTube channel Nerdrotic, which covers and critiques current pop culture through live streams, including Friday Night Tights, The Real BBC, and the Nerdrotic Nooner, which attract thousands of views. He's being modest. That's right. Tens of thousands. He's also the founder of Nerdrotic.com, the website dedicated to his content. Welcome, Gary Buechler.
Hello. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for coming on, man. I was very excited to meet you.
Oh, well, I'm excited to be on this show. Tell Kerp thanks. I appreciate it.
Where do you live now? Are you in Texas?
I'm in Texas. I'm actually on the road right now, but I live. Yeah, I'm a California refugee. I got the hell out during COVID and moved to Texas. I'm one of those people, and now I'm in Wisconsin. Seeing family. Yeah. All
right. How do you like Texas?
I love it. You know, I've never, there hasn't been a nanosecond that I've missed California, and I was born and raised there, and lived there, most of my life, and never looked back. No regrets at all.
What part of California did you live in?
I grew up in San Diego, and then I lived in San Francisco for 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I lived there for a year and a half, and I was out of there.
Yeah, it's
I was born in San Francisco, but we moved when I was a few months old.
See, my kids were born there. I moved there for a girl that we married. We're still married, so there's a reason.
So it worked out. It worked
out. Yeah, it's all good.
I literally moved to San Francisco 3 weeks before 9/11.
What?
Yes, I knew something had happened because I woke up. I had 20 messages. And I was like, what the, because the time difference.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know you had a fun election night. So did we. Now, in doing my research for this, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but in doing my research, I found our birthdays are actually 11 days apart, literally. We're 11 days apart in age.
You're in August. That's good. Leo.
August 7th, 69. So, a lot of different demographics are getting credit for the Trump win, but really it is our people.
Yes.
Who put Trump over the top, plus 10. Every other demographic, 65 plus tied. Actually, we were the only ones who voted for him in a majority. Justine Bateman did a tweet storm that went kind of viral. So this is a little bit of it. I have found the last 4 years to be an almost intolerable period, a very un-American period in that any questioning, any opinions, any likes or dislikes were held up to a very limited list of permitted positions in order to access acceptability. I've never in my life known that to be an American environment. It's an environment I have encountered in smaller groupings, a church, a private club, a clique, but never before as a national blanket. It has been suffocating. Common sense was discarded. Intellectual discussion was demonized. Only permitted position, behavior, and speech was allowed. Complete intolerance became almost a religion, and one's professional and social life was threatened almost constantly. Those that spoke otherwise were ruined as a warning to others. So, Gary, is what people are really missing about this election that Gen X was very mad about what they did to Luke Skywalker.
That's it. That's what shifted the culture, was Luke Skywalker drinking titty milk. And you can't put the titty, the milk back in the titty. We all know that. So that's what changed it. Honestly, Star Wars, obviously something I talk about. and all the other pop culture stuff, I've always tried to mention that it's, aside from reviewing TV and film,
right,
going on in our culture is much bigger than those things. But it's indicative of what's going on. A lot of people have been saying that this America rejected Hollywood, its values, and everything else the government and our institutions were doing, because they're doing very similar things.
Right.
And I could not agree. Justine Bateman has been kind of a cultural hero over the last month, especially her.
Right. She did the Hollywood is Dead article.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And she's right, and she gets into most of it. What I mostly get into is the alienating of men of our generation, and I kind of see this as Generation X finally getting out from under the shadow of the baby boomers who have been in charge for so long. Our whole generation was a reaction to the baby boomers. And we were the first generation to not do as well as the previous. We were the latchkey kids, the do-it-yourself generation. But we've kind of like sat on our ass for a long time. We complained about a lot of shit, but didn't really do anything. And it feels like that this was the one time we actually got off our ass and did stuff. And I use the royal we. That's me too.
Right.
I wasn't super political until it directly affected me, because honestly, the fight between Republicans and Democrats rarely affected us. Gas prices go up, whatever, but it doesn't affect my job. It doesn't affect where I go. And then it started creeping in, especially in San Francisco. And you guys may or may not know, like, the reason we left was my wife had a hair salon. She had a extremely successful hair salon, and they shut San Francisco down. San Francisco never had bad COVID numbers ever, which is crazy, but it just never did. And the state was on and off for a couple of years. So a lot of people in a lot of states opened up early. Here in Texas, they did, or there in Texas and Florida. But California, the mask mandate was lifted a month before I moved, which was February 2022. So our life my kid's life got ruined. He got kept out of school for 2 years, and he had to repeat a year. And I am one of millions of stories where the reaction to COVID, not just COVID, the reaction to it, which was the most dangerous thing, affected real Americans. And that woke a lot of people up, thankfully, in our generation. And I think this is finally the reaction to that. Long overdue.
They woke up the slumbering slacker.
Yes, they did.
Well, all around the world, there's been this trend. I was reading something about this, and I would have to look into it a lot more, but I have no reason to doubt it. That basically not everyone, but basically a majority of political parties and leaders who were in power during that transition year out of the pandemic from 2021 to 2022 are having a very hard time staying in power. Not just here in the U.S., but all over the world. That was just such a moment of crisis and flux and uncertainty and stress and panic, because of the devastation that the COVID response wrought on, not just cities like San Francisco, but everywhere. Generally, leaders who were in power then are having a tough time hanging on to it now. Good.
Trudeau's next. Can't wait till that a-hole's gone. I think some of them should be in jail. We can go back to the 2008. There's a lot of bankers who should have been in jail. Well, there's a lot of politicians who should be in jail after this and this reaction. There was so much corruption. There should be hearings and all this stuff. We know it'll never happen, right? But this is something it's going to take generations to recover from. Period.
Yeah, well, this is something you talk about a lot because your beat is kind of Hollywood and pop culture and film and TV and comics and games. You talk a lot about how the Hollywood celebrities infuriated people by preaching to them while experiencing a very different pandemic than other people were experiencing.
Let's not forget that in California, where Hollywood they were allowed to work. They were considered essential when my wife, Jim's, and everybody else weren't, and they were in the comfort of their $6 million mansions, basically bloviating. You could. I remember Patton Oswalt's like, "What are you complaining about? You can get Uber Eats." Like, screw you. Not everybody can afford Uber Eats. And they were demonizing people. And yes, the divide from Hollywood, our entertainment, which is a luxury industry, which is not essential at all. I was pissed that there was a government subsidy. There was a bailout of movie theaters. I was like, Hollywood, bail out your own damn movie theaters. You got money. I don't want the taxpayer doing that. And I love this stuff, and I think it's important for America. But for them, the Hollywood celebrities endorsement died this year. It's not going to end, but any sort of influence they might have had, which is frightening enough that anybody would sway their vote on either side from a celebrity, is gone. They've lost relevance, and that's good. I think that's nature is healing, and the last week has been a very healing week.
Everybody come see us on tour. We'll be in Columbus, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.